I wonder where this is all heading before gene editing. Oh, I can walk into Gen Tech and I can be a Belgian blue tomorrow. Where is it going to go if it's already like this? What's up, everyone? It's Russo. I hope everyone is doing well. Today's ASMR sip is some Core Power hydration. Pop the top. All right, today I'm going to make an entertaining video. I want to read the comments, and I'm gonna give the original person who coined this term credit. So, GYMFLATION, David Lade, I forget in which vlog, but I heard David Lade made a very quality statement about how social media has gotten out of control with GYMFLATION, aka I'm sitting here enhanced, I don't know, around 240, rebuilding my CNS strength base, and there is some 16-year-old out there juiced to the gills that dwarfs me, mogs me, and you know, he's just getting started with cycling, aka a lot of these individuals are cycling way younger and getting to extreme physiques rapidly, to a point where I believe the pro circuit will be changed in 5 years to an extreme degree of how big these people are getting before gene editing. And now a word from our sponsors. This video is sponsored by Happy Hippo Botanicals. So as you can see, the Stoner Russo talking about his marijuana abuse, I wanted to point you towards one of the top kratom suppliers of the entire world. So I would say kratom is a opiate alternative as far as pain management, where you do not have to go through big pharma, and it is a God-given plant, and there are multiple different types of kratom, so I would definitely interact with the customer service on which kratom is best for you. But I would take into consideration the addiction. Just like the addiction of marijuana, you want to be aware, if you have an addictive personality, that this is a product that is going to weigh on that. However, I do believe that if you are in chronic pain and or you are recovering in need of pain assistance, pain management, I would rather see strategic use of kratom. Kratom is one of those products where it 120,000% works, and it's acting the same way an opiate would act. However, you have a lot more modulation benefits of having multiple different strains of kratom, and you have a ability to wean yourself off in a much more strategic manner. If you need pain management, I definitely recommend you checking out Happy Hippo and check out their catalog, check out their multiple products. If I was in a chronic pain situation and or my friend was, I would probably pick that, if not always pick that, over traditional painkiller routes based on, you know, the ethics of kratom being a God-given plant. So I think I'll title this GYMFLATION before gene editing. So we've seen me experiment around with a ghettomyostatin inhibitor, aka injectable YK11. And that is just like me peeking through the final frontier of bodybuilding, right? That's before actual, you know, you go to Gen Tech and I want to be a fucking Belgian blue tomorrow. You know, like this is where it's going. And you already have the teenagers who are inspired by the drastic amounts of opportunity, money, traveling, the ability to, you know, in quotation marks, break away from a traditional path rapidly, being, you know, associated with extreme polypharmacy drug abuse of bodybuilding. But it's happening at a competitive level of, holy shit, these physiques of these 20-year-olds. It's like GYMFLATION is a great way to put it. You have individuals all deadlifting close to 1,000. That wasn't happening when I was younger, watching all the YouTube, right? You have individuals basically ready to be on the pro circuit. It's not like, oh, you know, they scrape by, got their pro card. There are certain individuals that are young that are like, okay, that looks like a competing pro already, and he just got his card. That's going on. And then you have 16-year-olds having access to, number one, all the compounds and the compound information, because, you know, with the biohackers that have platforms, right, especially the older OG ones, right, they had to accumulate that information in a lot different manner than I did and the younger ones did. right? I was kind of in the middle. So they have access to all this information to a point where strategically they are most of the time, what I can see is just shotgunning giant cycles, and they're ultra competitive, and social media is a ranking system for each individual. And this is turning into something where I wonder where this is all heading before gene editing. Oh, I can walk into Gen Tech and I can be a Belgian blue tomorrow. Where is it going to go if it's already like this? It is already bonkers. It is already to a point where I'm just sitting here like my blast in my head that I want to take before I'm 30. Like their blast, don't get me wrong, but compared to what everyone else is doing way younger, it's one of those things where is this going to, implode on itself as far as the ability to maintain longevity of these individuals? Now you can make the argument yes or no. I pointed out very old bodybuilders that have done extreme cycles. It's very individual per individual genetics on if you can tolerate drugs, in my opinion. I think the other point I want to make is you can basically hyper respond to gear, and let's not go into you fucking up your pubescent development. Let's absolutely never go into you fucking up your brain development. But as far as your body, you could hyper respond, in my opinion, to androgens, when you look at these 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds. There seems to be a nuanced hyper response factor based on the growth part of their development, adding in not just exogenous androgens, astronomical amounts of fucking exogenous androgens and growth hormone pathway. That's what I always make sense of, like when I look at pros that had a young pro career and they had the pro career where they got to enjoy their career as far as the age bracket goes. It seems like they hyper responded in their teens, and there were very few that took that risk, and it was mostly bodybuilding families or bodybuilding like niches that would basically scout this individual young person and see if they wanted to take that risk for themselves. And they were all hyper dedicated to actually, doing preps, not like Russo, actually doing things that would keep them at the pro circuit level for as long as possible and would give them a flourishing career. Now you have it just looked at as a clout meter. It's a clout meter, and not everyone wants to compete for certain reasons. However, they all want to juice rapid amounts towards a point where, I would consider gymflation very real at this point before gene editing. I want to harp that so bad that when gene editing comes out, I have no idea if all of my videos, when gene editing becomes massively available, will need me to overwrite them because the starting point genetics is also based on hyper response, and you could argue that you can modulate that, and you could hyper respond after getting some gene editing done. And there are already individuals doing this. It's just not massively widely available yet. And you just wonder the way that's heading when I see these young guys, better physique than me ever achieved. I'm not saying my physique is like impressive by any means, but they're like before they're 20 and they are strong as fuck. They're just stupid strength volume. It's not like they just did fluff work. They actually put in that crazy work, and they're approaching 20 years old, and they set a new standard. I expect physiques to get way crazier as the years go on, and when gene editing comes out, I expect there to be a huge, I won't say rebirth of enhanced bodybuilding, but a huge shift in how enhanced bodybuilding is viewed versus what started enhanced bodybuilding, which was gym bros coming together and discussing the polypharmacy drug abuse they were doing to themselves in the corner and kind of relaying what works. Now they'll have fucking Gen Tech where you walk in and you're like, we could tweak all those, hey, look at this guy, he's a Belgian blue. Why don't we just do a little shot, boom, 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 switch them all, and you kind of be like him, you hit the cycle, boom, it's gonna be one of those things where, you're gonna wonder where it's heading as far as, number one, the pro circuit, and number two, just general social media gymflation. And we're getting to that point probably in the next 5 years, where, yeah, it wouldn't be surprising if I see, oh, you know, yeah, I just turned 19 and, you know, I did my couple 2 gram blast cycles, 3 gram blast cycles, and I got to this set point. Now I'm going to go over to Gen Tech and get modulated. And then, you know, like, well, is that a new like level that is untouched, unheard of, where they still have all their 20s to build on top of that? That's just something that Nerd Russo's like, okay, shit's about to get real wild, and I thought it was already crazy enough. So let me know what you guys think of the way gymflation is heading. I will see you guys in my next video.